Hey everybody, Taz from Critical Thinking Anarchist here, and I wanted to speak to you a bit about cancel culture. So we've had this whole thing where people keep going around and telling other people that they're essentially pieces of shit for liking something, for participating in something, for creating something for someone of a certain group. And one of the big ones that's been going on is this whole Comicsgate thing. Now, Comicsgate started a couple years ago um, because of comic book artists and writers who didn't fit the correct think. They were not on the right side of how to be by their peers. So they were anti-abortion and they were for Christianity and they were um, not for Black Lives Matter or whatever thing was going on at the time. They had their own personalities, and but they were in comics to write comics. They weren't in it to push their personal agendas. And that's what's been going on in a lot of different things. We've seen it literally all over the world, where people are being told how to behave by a very vocal group. And it's gotten way past the point of ridiculous, but it's actually being shown now how destructive this is. So, one of the latest things that's happened is Tom King, who is a comic book writer, for a lot of his stuff is for DC, and he's recently come out with Rorschach, which, if you know The Watchmen, Rorschach is one of the main characters in The Watchmen. And a comic book artist by the name of Jay Lee did a variant cover. Jay Lee has also done variant covers for lots of people. As long as he gets paid, he does so. That's pretty much his his thing is just, how much you gonna pay me? Okay, sounds good. Here we go, and comes out with whatever he needs to come out with, and is done. He doesn't care who he's making the art for. No, he probably has some people that he doesn't care for, and those people, much like most of us, he'll be like, "Hey, not happening." You know, I don't really care for you. And he probably just doesn't even answer his email or his phone or text or whatever it ends up being. He just doesn't communicate with those people. So for Tom King, instead of talking to Jay first and saying, "Hey man, um, do you know what this other guy did that you did this cover for? Hey, what's going on?" Instead of doing that, he tweets this shit and you know says, they put out a thing, and Jay Lee, who has also done covers for Comicsgate, a hate group, DC does not consult creators on alternate covers. I reached out to them to express my deep disappointment. As far as I'm concerned, this is the cover to Rorschach #1. Thanks, Jay. Not Jay. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate your help in all this. We needed to be told what to think. And I don't have it pulled up here, but Jay Lee was going through a rough time at this point. His dog had just died, and he and his wife had planned to, go out and have a day of remembrance for their dog. And instead, what happened was that Jay was contacted by DC, by other companies, by people that he knew, by people that he didn't know. Just calling him, texting him, emailing him, whatever, and telling them, hey, what the hell's wrong with you? Why'd you do this? What the fuck? You're not gonna have a job anymore if you keep that type of shit up. And Jay's going through this whole death thing, and he's like, what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? And finally someone gets on him about, well, you created this thing for Ethan Van Sciver, and he's like, yeah, and they're like, well, he's part of it. He's like, what the, I'm guessing, I don't know who finally did it, if it was Tom or for someone else, but they're like, well, they're part of Comicsgate. And Jay's sitting there going, what the fuck is Comicsgate? He's like, well, it's a thing, and Twitter, and da-da-da. He's like, there's a reason I'm not on social media, because I don't want to deal with this crap. He's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm not sitting here making art because I want to do this for the right people or the wrong people. He's like, I'm just doing it because someone asked me to do it and they paid me money for it. And he had, and Tom probably was like, he probably told Tom. It was just like, my dog just died, man. I'm just trying to have a day. I'm not on Twitter. I don't deal with Comicsgate. I have no idea what Comicsgate is. I don't support people hating each other. Leave me out of this. And then so Tom comes out and he's like, I spoke with Jay. He's not on Twitter. Didn't know Comicsgate existed and doesn't support hate of any kind. We're all good. Best possible outcome. The reality is that this all happened on a very, very bad day for Jay. And Jay is now like, fuck you, Tom King. Fuck you, all you other people who are coming at me with this bullshit. He's like, I'm just trying to do a job. I want to make money. And I want to do that job. That's all I want to do. And that is mostly what cancel culture does to people, is they prevent people from doing their jobs. We've watched it in Hollywood. Now, Hollywood is pretty much the epicenter of it. And the reason why it's the epicenter of it is because you have a lot of people who have a lot of time on their hands to do anything they want. Now, these are, again, people who get paid a lot of money to professionally lie to you. These are professional liars. They get paid money to lie to you. Think about that. An actor is someone who gets paid to lie to you. Now, when you're talking about the studio execs and the studio heads, what do they care about? They care about making money. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about politics. They don't care about, who thinks what, when, where, and why. All they think about is what can get us the biggest audience and the most money. And they will follow that to wherever it goes, whether that means with the conservatives, whether that means with the liberals, whether that means something other than those, and there are plenty of other than those. But unfortunately, the other than those are not very vocal. The majority of people are not vocal. We've got lives. We got shit to do. Last thing I want to do is get in a fight with people about, well, why did you vote this way? Who cares? I have my reasons. Sometimes the reason is I didn't like the other person. Sometimes the reason is I didn't know anything about either one. I said eeny, meeny, miny, moe, and bam, done. And it sucks to be uneducated about voting, but that's the way it works. Because unless you have a lot of time on your hands, and most of us do not, we have jobs, we have families, we got houses that we need to take care of. Most of us do not have the time to sit there and figure out every person's politics, every person's position, and then hold them accountable for it. I wish we could hold everybody accountable for their stuff. God, do I wish that. Because there are a lot of politicians who really need to be held accountable for their stupid actions. But it's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to get on each platform and figure out what each person is going to do and not going to do. And for the most part, the parties run everything anyway. So it doesn't matter what a person says. I try to vote for the person. I really do. I try to vote for the people who I think are going to be best. And I know there are a lot of people who don't vote and all that stuff. That's another conversation. I'm getting sidetracked. So anyway, the whole cancel culture thing is a bunch of people who think one way, and they want to cancel anybody who thinks differently. Talk about intolerance, by the way. These people say they want tolerance. They want acceptance. They want acceptance and tolerance. They want people who think differently than the rest of the world, unless you think differently than them. Then they don't want you. They want you gone. They want you removed from the earth. And therein lies the problem. So you have these people who want you removed from the earth. What do you do about that? You can either fight or you can go on with your life. Again, most of us just go on and fight. But when they're literally attacking your livelihood, when they're attacking your person, and they're preventing you from continuing on, there's nothing you can do except for fight. I mean, it's stupid that we can't just, and I don't want to say do what we want. We shouldn't necessarily be able to do what we want. But again, the pursuit of happiness. Make the attempt to do something that we enjoy and make a living off of that. In this particular instance, Jay Lee enjoys creating art. And he has found a way to make a living off of that. And that is rare. Why does it matter who he makes that for? Someone wants to pay him for it, fantastic, good on him. If it's an asshole that wants to pay him for it, then you make him pay more. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he thinks Ethan is an asshole, and maybe because Ethan said he backed a truckload of money out to his driveway and dumped it in. Obviously figuratively speaking, but he wrote him a big check. So maybe that was it. Maybe Jay Lee was like, yeah, I don't really particularly care for Ethan, but hey, I took a bunch of his money. Great. Ethan's happy to give him the money. Jay Lee's happy to take the money. Ethan makes a bunch of money off of Jay Lee's cover. Jay Lee gets gets more exposure. Everybody wins. Why is there anything wrong with that? Because it's a different type of think. Oh, you worked with somebody. You did something for somebody who we don't like. Why? Why does that matter? And the worst part is, other businesses try to follow this line of thinking. And they sit there and go, oh, well, we want to grow our audience. We're going to appeal to these people because they're being vocal. We're going to appeal to these people, and we're going to change this, and we're going to change that, and we're going to bring them into our fold. But the thing is, they don't want to be in the fold. They just don't want you to be in the fold. They don't care about your business. They don't, look at what happened in Portland, in Seattle. Starbucks gets destroyed. Starbucks is as close as you can get to, woke, Black Lives Matter, everything else as possible. They issued people their own Black Lives Matter shirts. They threw out the message. They donated tons of money. They did all of this stuff. They're the first ones out there. They're the first ones out there saying that, hey, we're changing our policies to make sure people aren't treated unfairly, that vagrants can come in and just hang out. We don't want cops in here anymore. They're one of the first ones to do that. They're one of the first ones to say police officers with weapons are not allowed in their places of business. Most other places, until this year, were like, cops welcome. Come on in. We want you here. But Starbucks was one of the first ones to go, nope, never mind. We don't want you anymore. And again, it's a cancel culture thing. They think they will grow their audience by adapting to them. The reality is, the audience that they're attempting to grow doesn't care. They don't want them. Now, I've worked at several places that did kind of the opposite of this, and you've probably done this. Many of you have dealt with these places as well. They try to incentivize new people coming to work, coming to not work with them, coming to do business with them. Banks and credit unions were the biggest ones doing this. If you open an account with them and deposit so much money and keep it there for so long, you get $50 or $100, something worthwhile. And a lot of times they'll do something, they would do the hey, you throw in $5, we'll match $5 or whatever it is, that type of thing. But there was a time, it didn't last very long. I mean, it might still go on, I don't know. But when I worked at my credit union, they did that type of incentive, and it was new customers only. And I had tons of people who had been with a credit union for 5, 10, 20, 30 plus years. And they said, what about me? I mean, I'll happily open a new savings account, a new checking account, a new whatever. I mean, $50, $50, $100 is $100. And we said, no, new customers only. And they said, why? I said, well, that's the way we're doing it. And I had several people pull tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars out of their accounts and close them. Because I said, well, if you're not going to give me the same deal you're giving some idiot with $100, some jackass who opens a new account, throws in $100 in there and just doesn't touch it for 90 days. Yeah, I do that on a daily. I've got my direct deposit going. I've got, tens of thousands of dollars in your account right now. You're making money off of me right now. And and all they said was, yeah, thanks, we appreciate that. And then those customers closed their accounts because they didn't take care of the people. They were so busy trying to get new people in, they didn't take care of the people that were there. And that's what's going on now. Look at it with Doctor Who. Look at it with Star Trek. Look at it with freaking Starbucks. They're losing customers because they're so busy trying to get these cancel culture people out there that the people who normally go there are being treated like assholes. They're saying, no, we don't want you anymore because you don't think properly according to the people on Twitter, according to the people in the streets. All right, fine. And then there's no point in me giving you money. If you don't want my money, I'm definitely not going to give it to you. I am not one of those people of shut up and take my money. I'll give you one shut up and take my money. The whole, oh, we want to get shut up and take my money, because if you finish that sentence, I'm never going to give it to you again. That's pretty much as far as I go with that shut up and take my money. I don't do that. And neither should you. And one of the weirdest things is, people are going up and want to be corporate now, but now it's this weird thing of people who are trying to cancel corporate, but also trying to be corporate. So you got people trying to cancel Nike while also saying Nike is the best thing ever for supporting whatever they support. You got people doing that with like the WNBA, the WNBA is like, hey, we're gonna send a message, and you had people supporting them for sending that message, but that message that they're also sending is like, hey, fuck you. I don't know. I'm just going on a rant at this point. Um, it's just, but again, it's just ridiculous. You've got companies trying to bend the knee to people who don't care. They want them to bend the knee just to show that they have power, but they don't care. They're not going to patronize your establishments. They're not going to give you more money. They're not watching the television shows. They're not watching the movies. They're not buying the products. They just don't want other people to do it either. That's the point. That's the point of cancel culture, is to cancel everything. At some point, they're going to go ahead and cancel Apple and cancel Sony and cancel whatever else. They're going to cancel every celebrity. If they can get there, they will do it. They will cancel every politician. Simply because they're politicians. It doesn't matter if it's AOC. She's now one of them. Cancel her too. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant and rave. I apologize for going on so long. But again, don't bend the knee to these people. Don't, patronize what you want to patronize. Buy what you want to buy. Vote with your wallet. If the company doesn't want you, don't buy from them. Period. Don't give them your money. There's no point in it. Don't help out assholes. Anyway, talk to you guys all later. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And